back out of the deep end into Academy, where frankly he belongs given his experience level. I'm hoping to see a little bit more of a stable performance out of him. I want to see NXI really have the chance to shine here on the Academy roster after taking a hit with that promotion.
Yeah, and we also got to mention that he is another member of the 100 Thieves next graduating class, right? He was kind of the replacement for Kenby when Kenby was moved up to the 100 Thieves roster, or excuse me, the 100 Thieves Academy roster, and NXI was able to step in alongside Fallen Bandit to fill in the big shoes that Tenacity and NXI, excuse me, that Tenacity and Kenby had left. And honestly, you know, while they weren't quite as dominant, they still look very good at that level. So to say that he is, you know, a weak player is being a little bit dishonest, because he's not. He's been looking pretty good, but the question is he LCS caliber level? Maybe not yet, but we can definitely get him there.
Yeah, I really do believe in NXI, so I can't wait to see a little more from him. Other players that will stand up to us as giant fans of the amateur scene will be, of course, Tony Top and Shoryu. Tony Top, one of the first draft picks, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not misremembering, in this year's Scouting Grounds, so got a lot to live up to just in that. We'll kick things off with the pick ban. We already have a Nidalee and an Aphelios. This will be our first Aphelios to make it through the ban phase today. And FlyQuest don't just get Aphelios, they get Aphelios Thresh.
Yeah, I feel like Aphelios is a bit of a bait for a lot of teams to pick up, because Kaisa and Jin both still exist, and I think they're both better. Because Aphelios just is okay most of the time, and then if he has the right guns, then he becomes good. But even then, like, that's kind of the baseline for a lot of these other AD carries, right? Jin and Kaisa are just good normally. They don't have any times where they're just also there. But that said, the team composition that EG has drafted against the Aphelios doesn't perform particularly well against it.
No, it's a lot of slower engage, which is what Aphelios wants to deal with. He is the quintessential sustained damage. So this so far so good for FlyQuest, particularly as they grab a Gnar for Kumo in the top lane. Gnar versus Renekton is a matchup we've seen go both ways recently, but I think in theory that Gnar is supposed to be quite good.
Yeah, and normally, you know, I just had a discussion with a couple of other caster buddies about Gnar should be okay in this matchup, even with the Nidalee, because of the difficulty that Tony Top will have in consistently actually landing that crowd control. Kumo should be able to get away from it rather consistently. So I'm not particularly worried for this, but it is an opportunity for them to instead flex the set into the top lane, who doesn't necessarily have a great matchup against Gnar, but is going to give them an opportunity to flex Renekton into something like a potential Galio, where the Renekton will absolutely have a good time.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to set it up. As we clean out our second ban phase, it is mid lane targeted for FlyQuest, jungle targeted so far for EG. Yone and Lucian banned out by FlyQuest. EG worried about NXI. Will deny NXI two of the most powerful junglers in the meta right now in the Talia and Graves.
Yeah, interesting that they chose to pick up the Twisted Fate here. It's not super vulnerable to the Renekton, but I feel like they could have waited to see what else they were going to do, because Lilia is kind of the best jungler left after everything else has been banned away. And this Misfortune currently being hovered for Shoryu is one of the reasons why Aphelios does not really get picked up super successfully, is because they get bullied by this character really, really hard. And now that they have the Leona, it's going to be scary for Tomo to even exist in the bottom lane.
Thresh is theoretically a solid counter to that, but that will put a lot of this onto Diamond as a skill matchup, right? Diamond versus Mystiques very much will determine the way that bot lane goes, because if you have good Thresh lockdown, Aphelios is really scary. Oh, what's that face? Is that how you feel about Lee Sin?
What does the comp do?
Oh, that's how you feel about the comp overall. Right.
Yeah, it's not like Lilia was super great, but it's just, this is a composition where FlyQuest are saying, we are better players, and we are going to win our lane. And even though our composition isn't super cohesive, we're going to beat you with it anyway. Whereas EG are like, okay, well, here's some bruisers and Misfortune that you can't ever touch, so good luck with that. And It's worrying to me that this is what FlyQuest are going through because it feels like a lot of ego picks, like right out of the gate, which good. Confidence is good, but what?
They don't really have anything to deal with those bruisers. They do have the Aphelios, which we touched on at the beginning, as being good to deal with bruisers, but not as the only option. And also, who's going to be occupying the attention of the rest of those heavy tanks whilst the Aphelios is whittling away? Because the answer, I guess, is Thresh, but not for the early game. Maybe Kumo, but for 5 seconds at a time. You know.
Yeah. No. This is a game where NXI needs to do really, really well, or FlyQuest composition just kind of doesn't do a whole lot. So we'll see what they end up doing because they're low damage, right? Both teams have one magic damage threat. You have Nidalee on the one hand, and then you have Twisted Fate on the other. And Nidalee, can pick single targets and blow them up relatively quickly. And Triple, with the predominance of as the item that he tends to go for, he can do that, but the people that he's likely going to be able to hit are Jojo Pune and Tony Top, who are playing Set and Renekton, and you do not blow those characters up as Twisted Fate unless you are massively, massively fed. So it worries me that both Tony Top and Jojo Pune can build in such a way that they just take forever to die, and Shoryu's going to clean up.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair assessment of the EG comp. Okay, but can I look? I'm gonna play EG's FlyQuest advocate here. What if they just win lane?
True. That's always a win condition.
They kind of have drafted like a whole lot of pretty strong lanes.
Yeah. In isolation, Gnar is good into Renekton. In isolation, Twisted Fate shouldn't really ever die to Set and can move around the map pretty effectively.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that is the one thing that this composition can do really effectively, right? Both Twisted Fate and Lee Sin have wake-ups at a similar time, and if you start, double ganking one of the side lanes, you can find advantages, but he just goes in.
Mystique's
okay.
Level 1 Zenith Blade. Spots Tovio. He's like, look, we're going to get something straight real early in this lane. Look at me.
Let him know.
You're not safe. Look at me.
Yeah, it's I mean, I dig it. You get some damage down, right? And you're able to heal up with the potion, so it's not like you're losing a whole lot, and you're potentially looking at a forced error from either Tomo or Diamond. Like, if they overcommit and aren't actually able to deal anything with it, Mystique suddenly looks really good because he makes his opponents panic, and that is a real thing at all levels of play. If you just make your opponents think that you are going to be more aggressive than you really are, those bluffs can get you a lot.
In this case, Mystique was exactly as aggressive as he threatened to be.
Yes.
Tobo. Diamond still will win the early levels of that lane once the wave clear is online from Misfortune. That gets a little messier. This mid lane is actually a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. It's really interesting, honestly, like watching Set play against these ranged champions because he can sustain through a lot of the damage that they're able to do. And eventually, he just gets strong enough to run directly at people. But something happened to Shoryu, where he's taken a bunch of damage, and now this wave looks pretty bad. So Tomo and Diamond are, they're doing step one. They are just winning their lane. And that is a huge way for them in this game.
FlyQuest step 1, win lane. Step 2, win game. Doesn't get much better than that.
Kumo.
Doesn't know. Lacks the critical information. Kumo will be stunned up and taken down. Contract's able to sneak into the bush and just set that play up for hours.
Yeah, normally it's a bit tough for them to set that up, but when you are moving directly into the Nidalee, it becomes way easier. The big thing, though, is that Kumo still has his flash available, so he should be able to dodge future ganks.
Do we need a replay of this? Really?
Yeah.
All right, sure.
The brutal thing is that, because he got stunned in the middle of a hop, he doesn't get the bounce. So that animation cancels just makes it even worse.
He looks so
than
sad.
It would normally feel.
Baby Nara is the cutest thing.
Oh, I agree. I play a lot of that character. Like, if it hasn't been clear, that is by far my most played champion over the past, 6 seasons.
You must be really happy with this season so far.
so far. It just makes me sad because there are some very vocal members of our community that's like, this champion is giga terrible. And it's like, but he's
I like your Redditor
not.
voice. That's a really good Redditor voice. Tell me, bottom did get banged around a bit, which I think is worth calling out. That's the end of the lane dominance down there.
Yeah. Oh, Diamond's in mid lane as well. So this is, you know,
What's
we
up,
are
Diamond?
starting to get close to the point where we can start seeing these wake-ups for a lot of characters, and both Lee Sin and Twisted Fate, you know, as they get their backs in, can start looking for these ganks in the side lane. And Kumo still doing all right. Is still in a spot where his opponent only got an assist, and he's technically up and will likely be relatively even after this wave ends up crashing into the turret.
Diamond was just checking the stuff out of that.
Yeah.
Wanted to
It's
see what it
speculative.
was like.
It's a time investment. Time share.
Okay. Inspecting his investment, though. Making sure that everything's being treated appropriately. Triple is maintaining the lane up to his standards, and as a result, Diamond roams back down bottom. Now we'll see the Drake first of the game, focused by FlyQuest, and EG are uninterested in contesting, so much so that Contracts is currently back in the Fountain.
Yeah. I mean, this is when FlyQuest are supposed to be able to find some of their advantages. This is when we can expect them to be doing well. But the big question is, how well are they going to be able to play the next 5 to 10 minutes? You know, between now and the 15-minute mark is really going to make or break a lot of things that FlyQuest want to do. Because so far, Triple hasn't left his lane in an effective way, and this is going to start happening.
Start getting hit by Jojo Pyun.
Bang.
Full wave shove actually under the tower as well. I think he's going to be able to get most of that CS, but of course this frees up time for Jojo Pyun to head up to the top side, where they're joining a congregation. 3
We've
players.
got Narvar.
Narvar burned. Kumo back in. Oh! A huge ulti! That's a disaster! FlyQuest, 1 kill. Kumo looking for the second. There it is. Triple was chasing down, trying to find the third, but Jojo Pyun gets out real quick once he sees what's just happened.
I am shocked that they decided to go for that at all, right? It's like he's got a bar, he's full health. We know that Triple is no longer in mid lane, and we don't have any vision to actually spot him out. And now, oh man, NXI? Does he hit 6 off of this? He does.
Gets the buff over the wall. Warthog, Lantern, he's out. FlyQuest just can't lose.
Yo, FlyQuest are just better players at this point. Let's see if they can actually get out of this one. No, EG want no part of it. They decided to back away from that one. And man, TJ, they're doing what they needed to. They are playing this game so aggressively and so proactively in ways that are really starting to turn things around.
Show
like,
us the 3-0. This is one of the most satisfying things I've
and he
seen
gets the
all
triple
day.
stun
Yup.
immediately after.
And then Triple, perfect timing, is there in lane for the gold card. Perfect timing.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some missing pings coming in after that one, because it suddenly makes this lane that was already ever so slightly Gnar favored from draft, and then became slightly un-Gnar favored, and Renekton was looking all right after the first gank. Now Kumo is in a dominating position again, because he's got these plated steel caps and can run away from Tony Top super effectively with the the movement speed passive move from Phage now onto this axe. It's going to be so difficult for Tony Top to do anything.
Yeah. Secret is it was always a Kumo favored lane, turns out.
Yeah. Ego picking is good.
Between that and NXI, just with the nerves of steel in that bush.
Yeah.
And the comms as well, to be fair, to have Diamond in position to bail him out.
Yeah.
To be fair, it is not just an NXI play there is team play. Well, it's just really looked good for FlyQuest, I guess, is the net result. Kumo will get poked here. There is a TP in that's going to be from mid lane. NXI and Triple trying to get some revenge for their teammate here. Contracts away. Gold card will land. It's onto the ulting Tony Top, and therefore not a very appetizing option. FlyQuest will back away, and it is a kill back over to Evil Geniuses. Nothing more.
Yeah. You know, I was so happy with the way that Kuma played the dive previously that he immediately turns around and is like, all right, well, I know Nidalee's here. Yeah, Lee Sin's close, but he's not that close. And then he's like, all right, let's go. And didn't end up working particularly well because that can still happen. He knew that that's what they were going to try and look for, and he just gave it to them anyway. So ultimately, you know, it's kind of looking like a wash. Overall in the top lane, every time we say something good about one team, they're going to immediately get shown up by the other side of the map. And as EG continue to bring this game later and later, a lot of the deficits that they're currently seeing should start turning around. But I'm really surprised at how poorly this bottom lane is currently going for the side of Shoryu and Mystiques, and we just haven't really had an opportunity to examine it at all.
No, it's been chaos across the rest of the map, but Diamond and Tomio have had that wave shoved in for a while now.
Yeah.
You can take a look if you're curious. You want to view it statistically. All right, you nerd, check out the CS difference. Tomio's destroying him.
Yeah, I thought it was passion fruit.
That was only
Isn't that your job?
That was before you made bad puns. You stopped being passion fruit.
I'll keep that in mind
when the puns came out. You never made.
Well, they were very passionate puns.
Okay, all right, we'll accept it.
But we got another dragon spawning up here relatively soon, and honestly, it could kind of go either way, right? You have both teams in a spot where they can try and contest it, but the fact that Evil Geniuses are here first means that they should be able to pick it up, and Lee Sin on the far side of the map won't be in a position to try and go for a steal, so we're back to a pretty even game, which I think is pretty Evil Geniuses favored. Yeah. Also that. It's surprising.
I do want to call why that execution on the Drake was so quick. It was because there is a control ward that is unspotted right near Raptors, so NXI was spotted.
Yes.
Sorry, distracted me by flashing the FlyQuest emote. As they run back behind the turret. You know, normally maybe you take a step forward, you get in a nasty fight there, but again, because that control ward, Josephine knows NXI is nearby, says very politely, no thank you, here's your team logo in case you forgot.
Yeah, that's pretty solid BM. It's just like, here you go. This is you. Alright, Contracts is here again. Kumo is currently Meganar and might be getting caught by 3 people, but Jojo Pune ends up turning back around, and I think they're just going to reward themselves with this scuttle on the top side of the map. And notably, Contracts has had a larger impact on this game than NXI had, and I said that was going to be one of their big win conditions for FlyQuest is NXI popping off, but he is down 20 CS with 0 kill participation at 13 minutes, and that means that he's not going to be as relevant later on in the game.
And Lee Sin, hook will land. It's onto the Leona though, so not worth covering. Lee Sin, you know, you want to see early game presence, or at least mid-game teamfight presence. We'll have a chance for that. Box is dropped, hook goes wide, TP from TF will get triple into the fight. All of this engage though is happening onto the Leona, an LPL classic maneuver, which means that it is worthless.
Hey, but you could just outplay it, right? If you believe hard enough, you will end up doing more damage. But as this comes to fruition, it's just going to be Contracts again more effective on the map as this Rift Herald is dropped 2 plates going directly into Jojo Pune. So he gets a little bit of an ab workout at the same time. And now we've seen this play before. Set looking to go up towards the top half of the map, and it would be more effective if he did choose to actually go for it, because Nard doesn't have a full rage bar to start off the entire thing.
That Rift Herald, as you say, does boost the gold here for EG. And they are, despite FlyQuest's early game dominant CS advantage, eking out a gold lead right now. It's very narrow, but it's worth noting. EG have survived the early lane state, and as we get more and more towards those team fights, that team comp draft diff that you were talking up maybe comes back to bite FlyQuest.
Ooh. Kumo gets it. Yeah, so the big thing that we're going to have to pay attention to is how well FlyQuest are able to split
they're killing your turret.
Yeah, but Krugs.
Oh, okay, Krugs, got it. Right, continue.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult for FlyQuest to get a lot of these team fights off rather effectively. They're going to have to really outperform their opponents if they want to try and do that. But they do have a pretty effective team composition for trying to split the map. Tomo on the Aphelios has decent wave clear, and you have disengage coming in from both the Thresh and the Lee Sin, where Gnar and Twisted Fate should be pretty happy to exist in side lanes up against their relative opponents, right? Tony Top on this Renekton isn't going to be able to do a whole lot to Gnar without a whole lot of support, and Jojo Pyun also won't have a whole lot of kill pressure up against his lane opponent. And I'm kind of curious where EG was for half of this turret, because I didn't see what they were doing, and they gave up a turret and a half.
The big thing I think was just Mystique's was up here on the top side, so they didn't really have the kit to team fight.
Yeah,
but they weren't really achieving anything on the map, so I think Jojo Pyun could have rotated down. And it's okay because we had a similar thing where Kumo just decided that he didn't need to hold that turret 1v1 against Tony. And to be fair, Kumo didn't have the map vision to know that there weren't still people lurking around. But, I don't know. Would have liked to see him try for something, try to establish that vision if nothing else.
Yeah, well, not dying is a good first step, but now with another dragon about to spawn, we're going to see how these two teams interact with each other. As Mystique's just goes over the wall and says hello to Triple.
Places to be! I think the problem for FlyQuest is we said step one is win lane, right? That's the composition they drafted, and they have not.
Yeah. Triple has had one ultimate, or excuse me, he's had two. One of them was successful, and he went up top to turn around the dive onto Kumo. The other one, you know, he went after Mystiques, and was a little bit less successful. And
I don't know what he did land the gold card on Mystiques. I don't know what you're talking about.
He did. He did his job. The rest of you just didn't do enough damage. All right, we're going to see a fight right now around this dragon.
Oh. CBN Triple starting the fight. Death sentence will follow. This is all onto Mystiques again. They do get the kill, but it's set up for Tony Top, who comes in the backside. Kumo tries to find the turn. Good stun, but will have to flash away. Diamond and Triple very low at the end of the fight with NXI down. FlyQuest can't continue to contest. And so EG, despite only getting a 1-for-1 trade, have the player advantage to take the Drake.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what we were talking about with the composition they were trying to build, right? Shoryu in the backline, he had the bullet time going off against a bunch of members, while Tony Top and Jojo Pyun, very, very difficult to kill over these extended team fights. And, you know, even though they catch out Mystiques here, it takes a long time to kill them. So we'll actually get to see this right again. Shoryu is able to sit here with a full bullet time across everyone. And notably, there's absolutely, there's no threat whatsoever to Shoryu. So he's able to get enough damage down. Everybody else realizes we can't walk through Jojo Pyun and Tony Top because there's a full health Misfortune on the far side that is going to start peppering us with bullets if we come anywhere nearby.
It was Mystique's Solar Flare that stunned up NXI and guaranteed the fight to EG. So it was because they were focusing everything on the Leona. And I don't know how that shapes up, but end result, fighting a Leona in melee range just results in them getting CC. And if that's followed up upon, well, result that you saw.
Yeah. So we'll have to see what kind of threat they can add. Oh, Triple. That's so rude. Oh, that's actually hilarious. I love that.
Just reminds him whose jungle he's in.
You are in Contract's jungle now.
This is
all right, but look at the bottom side of the map.
Yeah. At least something in trade. Kumo will find a turret, boosting his own personal gold, and he is one of the more wealthy members of this FlyQuest side. But I'm not certain that that's going to be enough to save them, because their damage sources are supposed to be Triple and Tomo, and neither one of those lanes is far enough ahead to feel comfortable relying on it.
Yeah. So we'll have to see, right? Because the thing that EG are kind of missing is super good engage. They have decent engage, right? They have a Leona, but other than that, they can't really lock down a full team rather consistently. You know, we've all seen Twitch rivals where Aoki and Low Poly just look really, really good with like their 5-man solar flares, but that is not the expected value.
Hook. Okay. Resonating strike over the wall. Jojo Pyun, of course, is a set, so they take those. Triple is just carried into the core. In the meantime,
no.
TPs are in up top. Tony Top overextends and goes down very low, but it's triple to actually fall. The only player to die in the fight. Don't ask me how NXI survive, as FlyQuest lose out the fight on yet another technicality.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Shoryu.
Kumo doesn't finish it. Diamond back into the front lines will land CC, but not enough damage to actually find the kill. An awful lot of FlyQuest spells are getting dumped into both Set and Leona.
Yeah. I mean, that's what EG want, right? This is the exact kind of team fight that they are looking to have. And so far, it's, they're leading to a very even game state, but it should continue to get better for Evil Geniuses as this Lee Sin becomes less relevant, as this Twisted Fate stops doing as much damage, whereas on EG, Tony Top isn't going to be as much of a damage threat, but he's got his Gore Drinker, you got the Stride Breaker on Jojo Pune, so these guys are going to take a while to go down. We'll get to see, how crazy this team fight is. I don't know how Triple got into the middle of the entire enemy team.
No. What was that?
Oh, he just ported into the entire enemy team and got yeeted by Set. Got it. Okay.
I think that actually probably gave Jojo Pune an out, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, Jojo Pune's probably dead there.
Yeah. So, well, it's all right. You still got a lot of game left to go. You can still try and find some more practice plays as Twisted Fate, because they are going to be the ones trying to split the map, right? You're going to be the ones trying to find isolated members like Tony Top trying to match Kumo off to the side, or just catching people out in the middle of rotation. So they still have plenty of time, but we've got about 40 seconds left on the team fight counter, and right now, as everybody's going to be backing away, there's going to be some pretty good wave positions left over for FlyQuest to be there first.
That is what we're looking at as the FlyQuest side begins to, I think, head towards their late game team fight. It is all going to be about the CS leads, the gold they have earned during this time. And the only place I think that is significant enough to be relevant is Tomo. I said earlier I don't think you should be safe relying on him. But he is here. He will be a team fight of Helios.
Yeah.
Question is, what can they do with that?
Can they do much of anything? They don't have a bar on Kumo. And he's not... Oh, are they going to try and threaten the Baron for this Ocean Dragon? I don't know how safe that actually is, because Tony and Contracts can do what they're about to do, while the rest of EG walk over and threaten the Baron.
Okay, EG don't full commit to fighting over this Baron. FlyQuest will start it. The rest of EG are hovering around this mid lane. FlyQuest do not have the Baron damage. Mystiques is coming in.
Oh, Kumo.
Will be flanking round the side. Tony Top in. Kumo suplexed out of the fight, still alive. In the meantime, Mystiques did go down. Big damage arriving from Tomo. There's Triple ulting in, and the hook lands. Big plays from Diamond. Jojo Pune will find the turn with the Haymaker, but now has limited HP to work with. Drake went over to EG, and I guess that actually is the only real bullet point at the end of that exchange, as Mystiques did fall, but it's a Leona.
Yeah, absolutely make that trade every time. Now, EG were a little bit overzealous in trying to contest, and you saw that Shoryu was like, okay.
Contracts is back in here, and that could be punished, but
Nice.
Death Sentence goes wide. Gold card will not. Jojo Pune with the Haymaker. Can't find the damage they want. NXI is chasing. Here's Kumo from the flank, and they will shut down the mid lane Set. The turn yet again for this Baron.
All right, but the members of EG are around. It's not super easy for them to do this all by itself, and Triple is... I don't know what Triple's doing, but he's not here. He's not available to really contribute to this fight, nor does he have an ultimate available. So this is actually really dangerous for FlyQuest.
Wait, the bullets in. Half HP. There's Kumo diving in. Solo ult on Mystiques. Not going to find you much, but Mystiques now doesn't have their shield. And that's going to mean a very quick kill onto Leona. Diamond at the back of the fight has no HP, but did survive. And okay, it is a few more kills passed over to FlyQuest as they force another fight around the Baron. Nothing more will come of it.
Yeah, but the big thing, again, is just Shoryu is completely untouched. There is no threat to this backline, and even though Mystiques is dying, it's not really mattering. They're only 1,000 gold behind, but they are currently at 3 of the 4 dragons that they need to get the Ocean Soul. And once that starts coming through, it becomes even more difficult for FlyQuest to really contest any of these fights. The only real point of strength that they've been having has been Tomo so far, because he is able to chew through a lot of these front lines. We get to see, which is this? This is the first, this is the first Baron contest.
This was the first time we did this. It was the first time Mystiques got burned down by the entire focus of FlyQuest. Got it.
But you could see Shorty was not comfortable walking through that river while Kumo was in the position he was. But even here, he's completely untouched. Nobody can really look at him. And by the time they're like, oh, hey, Shorty might be a bit too far forward, he's still got a Gale Force to fall back upon. So he's playing his role really, really well. And Mystique's also doing a good job. Like, if somebody's going to be dying, it should be the Leon. It should be the same character over and over again. So they're doing good.
Mystiques is doing a really good job drawing focus, because for each one of these major abilities... Wow, good wave, Claire. I don't know that it will stop them, though, because you do have the demolition, and indeed, the turret will fall. Very well played.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is, for every time you see a team fight where Mystiques goes down because, like, 60 spells are spent on them, that is CC that is not available to threaten to shore you, that is not available to stop Tony Top or Jojopian from diving frontline. Very important that that gets spent, but EG haven't yet ever had the follow-up to make it evidently worth it on the map.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll have another opportunity for both teams to try and do the same thing around this Ocean Dragon, and honestly, FlyQuest cannot make the same kind of gamble that they did before, where it's like, hey, we're going to go try and hit the Baron, because EG will be like, okay, you have that Baron, we're going to have this Ocean Soul. That is a permanent buff. We are going to be on this for the rest of it. And so we're seeing Triple, he's already not necessarily going to be the most impactful magic damage source for the team. And now that he appears to be building towards the rapid fire cannon, his damage is going to continue dropping off. So it's, another crowd control bot being added to the game, and I'm not sure that's what they need. We don't need to crowd control Renekton and Zed. We need to do damage to them.
Yeah, and that mantle is increasingly going to be exclusively Tomio's to banner.
Yes.
So, watch the Aphelios in these team fights. If they get assassinated or hit by a long-range Nidalee spear, it is pretty much game over for FlyQuest. They will find Mystiques. Yeah, this one, I'm not sure. Mystiques will go down for free. That one's not worth. And Drake is up, so very, very bad timing for Mystiques. We'll see if EG try and force a 4v5 steal attempt, or just take the L.
I think you just, throw things over the wall, right? Like, you don't actually want to lose another member, because then that makes the Baron super dangerous to try and contest. Yeah. Alright. Okay. Yep. FlyQuest are being good players, so that is
very well done. And for all we were talking up Mystiques, tactically drawing fire, that wasn't one of those instances. I don't know why they were so far forward. You don't need that much vision. And it does cost EG there.
Yeah. And this also gives more time for, Kumo and Triple to try and move into the side lanes and make sure that their waves are in good states for the upcoming Baron contest, because you got to be very careful, right? Like, when both top laners have this teleport, it's not necessarily going to be super exciting for the members of EG, because bringing the Renekton into the fight, he's not the best team fighter.
Oh, Tomo.
He's just going to...
Too far forward, Zenith Blade in. Tomo with the Lantern did get away, but not forever. Pulled back in, suplexed into the bullet time, and that will be the kills that EG needed to close this game. They're going to turn instantly for the Baron.
Alright, but what does Kumo get on the far side of the map? Is he going to be able to get this inhibitor turret? If he gets the inhibitor, it might be okay. It might not be the worst thing in the world, but man, that was a huge mistake coming out from Tomo and Diamond. A great play coming out from the Mystiques in order to actually lock them down early on. And yeah, they're not even going to be able to get much of anything. Kumo is not going to be able to get the inhibitor. Instead, they're only going to get the mid lane inner. And everybody with the improved recalls from Baron is going to be able to come back to make sure that they don't lose any more of their base. So overall, massive, massive win coming out from EG. They should be able to try and force the fights now that they are going to be winning the side lanes. They are going to be winning the push. There's not a lot of wave clearing their opponents.
Yeah, you can see Diamond's there for the Lantern, but there's just nothing to fall back to.
Yeah.
Very, very cleanly done. EG punishing the mistake, and we talk about that all day. You can't rely on your enemy to make mistakes, but also, when they hand you one like that, it is very important, and indeed the mark of good teams, to be able to take them up on it.
Yes. Yeah, just because you're playing catch and they throw the game doesn't mean that you're going to catch it all the time. And right now, this is a little bit dangerous. Tony Top isn't there, and here comes the teleport from Kumo.
Gold's current stun onto Contracts. They will flash away Kumo around the side, as you say. Tony Top waiting in ambush. Ult popped. All onto Mystiques again, but Mystiques goes down uncontested. And so this could develop. Kumo for a deep dive. Bootlit Vigil to follow. They've got the kill. No Shoryu. No big team fight damage. Tony Top tries to get something, but they are just CC'd for decades. They are petrified. And archaeologists will be digging at Tony Top up years from now, wondering whatever happened to EG's top laner.
Oh man, poor Robot Jones. Just sitting over here, not able to do much of anything, and now this is going to turn things around because, again, you can't make these plays without the members of your team fight composition if you're trying to do that. Shoryu being dead, that's the first time that they were really able to get onto him, and they're going to...
Kumo! He's just
Kumo.
going! Kumo will dive very far in. 6 seconds on Shoryu's respawn. That should be enough wave clear once Shoryu's back that they don't lose more than this inhibitor. And indeed, that will be exactly what FlyQuest are aiming for. Very well played.
Yeah, looking good. So I would like to think that EG has learned their lesson. They are a death ball composition, and they need to be that death ball. Having Tony Top off on the side, and he was envisioning, he was trying to hide around the corner while the Twisted Fate ultimate was going off. They knew exactly where he was. They knew what they were trying to do, and they just weren't going to give it to him. Instead, they're just going to barrel onto Mystiques, and I feel like most of Mystique's deaths are good deaths. There are a couple exceptions, but this is not Mystique's fault. Like, he is the one who should be going down here in order to try and get as many people out as they can. And as they start to move forward, they end up catching him so that he ends up taking the hook instead of Shoryu, and then everybody else ends up just getting caught because they were like, ooh, do we turn around and try and help him? No, you don't. He's already dead.
I think the only possible way out there, though, is like pathing up through Tony Top into the enemy jungle. Like, it was just a very, very doomed play because of the out-positioning that it happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Very, very well played by FlyQuest to punish that. The inverse of what happened moments ago.
True. So now, we basically have another team fight, and the winner of this is going to be in a good spot. If EG win this fight, the game is going to basically be over because they have the Ocean Soul. If FlyQuest win this fight, the game is actually over because they just take the Nexus. So this might be the last major opportunity for these two teams to clash, and currently, FlyQuest are in a better cohesive unit than their opponents. Oh, yep. Mystiques.
But there is vision, and Mystiques is on the flank, as you call out, will go right on in. Diamond, Tomo caught by the Solar Flare, stays ahead. Bullet Time does not find enough damage. Bullet Time's completely wasted. Now Kumo's found the turn. Jojopute will spend the Haymaker. They've got nothing left. Tony Top with the backline dive is eaten alive, and Triple dropped into stasis to avoid everything. A beautiful team fight from FlyQuest as they secure their own backlines, keep their Aphelios up, and take themselves a Drake.
Yeah, this is rather interesting because they probably could pick up a little bit more here if that's what they had committed to, but instead they want to make sure that they put this Ocean Dragon back on a timer so that EG have to come out a little bit later and look for another fight. But we saw there wasn't a whole lot of threat to Shoryu, but Triple has the range suddenly with the Rapid Fire Cannon to actually throw down the stun, and you don't need to kill Shoryu, you just need to make sure that he's not doing damage in these actual fights. So they did a fantastic job at limiting his effectiveness throughout that entire thing and just absorbing Jojopune and Tony Top coming into the rest of the fight. So this game, I wasn't a big fan of FlyQuest composition, but they are playing it very, very well across the board. They're consistently playing to all of their win conditions. And now, since they are far enough ahead, they might be able to start looking at this Baron. They might be able to start looking at a lot more and maybe even find Mystiques once again. No, he is going to be able to recall in time.
It is fascinating how this composition that you correctly identified, I think, is a little aimless. And certainly is harder to execute than their opponents over on FlyQuest, has transformed into this late-game protect the Aphelios comp. That is basically all it is.
And remember how we were criticizing NXI for not doing anything in the first 12 minutes? He's now 6-1-4.
Yeah.
Like, he's actually playing these teamfights remarkably well.
He's been, as I was going to get to, kind of benefiting from the Aphelios sustain, where the Aphelios will be burning people down and NXI will be finding the weak targets. He's consistently able to orient himself very well in teamfights.
So we'll see how this next Baron goes, because again, it could be an opportunity for, if it's a clean fight, depending on where it happens, it could be the end of the game as they, you know, they get a little bit of damage down into contracts, but he should be able to heal most of that up. And one more cycle on that E should put him A-okay.
Oh.
Kumo.
FlyQuest!
I like this fight.
Burning down this Baron. Half HP on it. 6k now as EG set up behind the Baron pit proper. Even lower.
It's
resetting, hovering around 6k on that Baron. EG draw away the focus. It's reset now up to 8k. Bullet time will go into the pit. Oh, deep dive. Kumo finds a big stun. Backline speed time. Mystiques goes down, and Kumo gets out. Able to refocus the entire team upon the diving front lines. A double kill starts things off for Tomo as both Jojopyun and Mystiques go down. And FlyQuest win an all-important fight. Destiny does get spent by Triple just to figure out where their opponents are. Shoryu's doing a good job kiting, though. Them and Tony Top are a formidable two-man unit, and with contracts hovering in the wings, FlyQuest can't take any risks here. They need to be perfect.
Where are they going? They're going to be backing away here. They're going to be losing at least one turret off of this. Man. Okay, so suddenly they're going to be able to pick up another inhibitor turret, or excuse me, an inner turret, not an inhibitor. So that's going to get them a little bit of gold, and we're going to be able to reset in just a moment because both Kumo and Jojopyun going to be coming up at about the same time. But again, EG aren't really playing their composition to its full effect. Shoryu was in contracts for trying to fight Kumo, whereas the divers weren't really able to get a whole lot done because between Tony Top, Jojopyun, and Mystiques, you don't have enough damage to take down Tomo with the rest of his team surrounding him.
Which is, I think, what we have seen time and time again. Tomo surviving the pressure. Here is another look at that last whole mess as EG pressed in repeatedly, successfully baited out FlyQuest responses, but check Kumo here. Over the wall, engages the backline, gets out alive.
Yeah, Tony Top, on the other hand, he is just now doing his first bit of damage in this fight. So he's still full HP, but ultimately, as long as this game is still going, it's not too bad. Triple tries to get in range without getting bursted on
we are right back into it.
Mystiques is dead.
Huge Moonlit Vigil starts that up. Tony Top will dive in. 1v5, it drops into stasis. I don't know what you think is happening on the other end of that. Tony Top has a GA. Oh, mistimes the hook, but it won't matter.
Wow, I don't know how that fight started, but it's probably going to be how the game ends as Kumo is suddenly finding Shoryu and taking away all of that movement speed that this character normally has.
Double flash forward, Shoryu in trouble indeed, will be stunned up and gone, and I think you're absolutely right, Joshi. That may be game. Mystique's 8 seconds away from respawn. Everyone else a little longer. And I don't think the 3-man core can hold on. Mystique's bullet time is... Mystique's stun is kind of the only way you can make this happen, but no. CC is delivered. The last-ditch attempt from Jojopyun is valiant, but it will not get them the win. FlyQuest slug out a 38-minute victory over Evil Geniuses and will take their first Academy game of the season.
Wow. I mean, ultimately, I did not like their composition. The draft was very suspect to me, but they were able to play their composition the way it was meant to be played, and EG simply weren't. So congratulations to FlyQuest for showing that it doesn't matter. Like, you do not win or lose the game in draft, right? You do not end things immediately. You still have to actually execute on what your composition wants to do, and they did it beautifully.
Yeah, that was just a very, very fun game to watch. I think my big takeaway from that is that Tomo was absolutely stepping up. We said that the only way those team fights work is if the Aphelios goes huge, and time again, exactly that happened. And yes, it was a team effort. There were a lot of really good resources being committed, especially by players like Diamond, to keep Tomo alive. But what they did with that time in the hands of a lesser ADC could have not been enough to save those fights, and indeed that game.
Yeah, and I also want to praise Tomo as well, not just for his play later on in the game, but also for how dominant he was alongside the support in order to actually continue to push things around, right? He was up massively over Shoryu, who a lot of people were looking at as one of the AD carries in Amateur and Academy that might be in the conversation for an LCS spot, but Tomo's like, nope. This is my lane. We are in control here, and you are going to sit down. And they were able to do exactly that.
Yeah, top lane Kumo, I think, has to deserve accolades as well. The polar opposite side of the FlyQuest map, but possibly the best Gnar we've seen so far. I've received word that we do, in fact, have Tomo in the wings, so we can hop on into our post-game interview presented by Verizon, as I think that